how to scale like a hero in 2026 and beyond. The thing is, growing a business is tough. It's an intellectual blood sport. And there are a lot of structural things that need to happen to make that occur. But the one that most people miss is the one that happens in between here. And most people realize that to really scale a business, you've got to scale yourself first. So how do you do that? Well, I'm going to take you through the things that we've found, having done this now for well over a decade, working with over 2,400 businesses. What are the things that have made the biggest difference on people who have really accelerated? I'm going to use an example of Michael. Michael had been in business for 9 years before he started with us. 9 years, the business was doing $1.23 million. And the last 12 months is now up to $13.5 million. And the business structurally was very similar. There are some things that we changed, but what really changed is his mindset and his approach to it. So what I want to do is to take you through exactly what I took Michael through as well. So let's look at the principles here. The principle here is, if you look at it, there is a very specific journey that we start out, and it's a journey that you might be familiar with. And that journey is, hey, this is great. I'm starting a business. It's fantastic. It's really cool. We're going along. We're having some fun. It looks great. There's a great excitement. You get your few clients, things are moving ahead, or you've been in business a little while and you've got a good run. Things are really great. Then there gets to a place where you're now beyond whatever you remember. Like you're beyond it. It's now past, the business has exceeded past what you are familiar with or what you're comfortable with. And then we go through a phase that, oh my God, this is terrible. This sucks. This is horrible. And unfortunately, in most countries, and most people, they just sit in this place and they sit in this purgatory of the business not really excelling. They're not really getting the results. They're doing okay, but they hit a glass ceiling. And you can be in business, as Michael was, for 9 years, 9 years in business, and he's just hitting this glass ceiling. Yes, it was kind of doing okay. But to get through this and get through this journey, there are 3 things that need to happen. And they're what we call the 3 trusts. And the 3 trusts are very, very simple. And that is, the first thing we've got to do is to trust the guide. And for Michael, for him, he was trusting us. Whoever you've got, someone who's already walked the journey, someone who's like, who do you know that has already gone ahead, that can mentor, that can guide, that can coach you on what you're doing? It could be us. We'd love to help out. But if you don't have us, who else do you have that can help you on that? So first thing is to trust a guy, but a guy that's already gone down that journey, that's got the experience, got the bruises, the cuts, they've been kicked in the guts, and they've gone through that, and they've come through even better. The second thing is to trust the system. And trusting the system means, really simply, what's the process, what's the structure to physically grow a business? And then the third thing is to trust yourself. You trust those here, what that does, that brings you down to this place. And this place here is called the abyss. And once you get to the abyss is when things kind of like, oh, the epiphany hits. I was fighting this journey. And then what happens from here, there's a phase that we come back up. This is the phase of redemption. And this will start to look a little familiar to you. Redemption, and all of a sudden it gets happy again, and we're like really excited. We're pumped. The business is moving the way we want to. And this here is being well defined. And this is what's called the hero's journey. This is the hero journey. If you know the most famous hero journey that really brought this out, was the old Star Wars movie. Luke gets really excited, gets really pumped. He goes off, I'm going to become a Jedi Knight. He finds a guide. At that time it was Obi-Wan to start off with. He had a system, use the Force, and then gets to the place where he had to just trust himself and just go, cool, forget all the gadgets from it. I need to trust myself. He gets to the abyss, gets the redemption, and then the next series comes around and he goes through the same hero's journey. Now, this hero's journey is very applicable in business. It's exactly the same thing. What I see happen, though, is a lot of people get blocked here and they end up just kind of going back and forward here, which is why globally, of 100 businesses that start, think about this, like 100 businesses that start out, at the end of 4 years, there are only 20 businesses that are left. 20. At the end of 7 years, there are only 4 that are left. So 100 business start, 7 years later, you've only got 4. Out of that 4, only 1 has a revenue that's above $1 million. So if you're above $1 million, you're on the top 1%. How does that feel? Most people go, it still feels pretty crap. Okay, that's fine, because we didn't understand that this here maps very closely with business. For the business to evolve, the leader needs to evolve first. Leaders go first. So once the leader has gone first and they've made the evolution, then the business will then follow on from it. Because the business is a reflection of the leader or the leaders in the business, especially the founder. So if you look at this here and you go, okay, that's great, David, but how does that actually practically work out for me and my business? So that's what I want to take you through, because what I see happen is a lot of people miss some of the major milestones. And if you look at some of the milestones, there are very specific stages. And what happens is people will go in here and they get caught in a loop. The first loop is usually a business that's from about $500,000 to about $1.2 million. And that loop is called the vortex. It's probably the hardest one to get out of. You get sucked back in because you don't know how to delegate and elevate properly. So that's what I want to take you through right here to help you understand the key steps and the processes. What happens is the system to scale means the system to scale you first. And for this year, 2026, more than any other time in history, the speed that you can do this is going to be critical to the success of the business. If you're not able to do this fast enough and you don't know where you are in the cycle, you don't know the 3 trusts, you don't know how to use them, then most people are just going to get stuck. So there's a natural phase and natural stages that people go through. So let's go through the first one. The first part here is we call point A. And point A, things are great. Things are happy, life's good, I'm feeling like things are moving the way I want them to work, life's good. Then all of a sudden you start to notice that at point B, things start to feel a bit icky. Like you look at point B and you go, I think something's not quite right. And you start to see some signs kick in. And then those signs kick in, and then what ends up happening is we have a deep dive down here. And this is what happens here, and this is what we call point C. And point C is all around the drama cycle. Your key supplier doesn't supply the product anymore. You've got a key person in your business that leaves and starts their own business. You've got a major client or major series of clients that are coming in, and unfortunately what ends up happening, they leave and you go, oh my God, I spent all this effort and time getting this client. I'm putting so much into this bespoke, whatever it is, and you're putting this energy and focus into it, and then they go, oh, sorry, we've got a restructuring. We've got a new CEO in, or we've got something different we're going to have to change. Or it could be a health issue. You've got a major scare that's gone on of some sort. Point C is terrible. Point C is where you're like, oh, this is horrible, and it just feels like Groundhog Day of things being uncomfortable. You can think about this in health. Healthy, getting here and going, oh, like I put on a few extra kilos, not feeling so fit. This place here is like, I can't put my jeans on. I got a sore back, got a sore neck, my arms are sore. I walk upstairs and I'm panting. It's the kind of like, you know what? I'm done. Like there's too much of this. I'm not enjoying this. And that leads us into the last part of the downward part of the cycle is point D. Now, point D, the relevance of point D, and it's a little bit different on point D, because point D is kind of like you're done. Point D is the delta. And the delta is where you go, I'm satiated, I'm full, enough's enough. I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to get a PT. I'm going to sign up to the gym, and I'm going to make a change. You're like finished. The difference between point C and point D is at point D, you've got more energy and fire because you're going, I'm sick of this. I'm going to walk out. We're going to make a change and make a difference. Point C, you're just on this spiral going, oh my God, when's it going to end? At point D, you know it's going to end because you're going to do something about it and you're going to change it. Now, the problem is a lot of people, when they get to point D, they keep on complaining about it. And a lot of people at point D, they just keep on going. We don't want that for you. What we want is to understand there is another phase that we want to get into. That leads us into the next point. And the next point here is looking at point E. Now, point E is when you're going, right, I've got a new trainer, things are moving in the right direction, I'm starting to make some progress, I'm feeling pretty good, I feel like there's some momentum that's being kicked in gear, I'm feeling okay. And that gets us into the critical phase. And the critical phase here is point F. Point F, what's interesting about point F is that point F is at the same level that point B is. And so at this point here, energy-wise, you're kind of like, oh, I think I'm good. I think I'm fine. Point F, you've got some traction, you've got some results, the revenue of the business might be up to a different level. You're feeling like you're back in control. Now, the problem with point F is people get comfortable. And the problem with comfort is a killer. This point F, and the problem that people have, and the reason why there's so much roadkill and why people don't evolve and they're not able to make the transitions that we see that they know. And there are very specific transitions people take from 0 to 2 million, 2 million to 4 million, 4 million to 8 to 12. As you go up, there are very specific transitions. But even as I say this, just think about this for you, is what happens is people do this. They go, oh, cash is terrible, it's horrible, it's not making what I want. And then it's like, oh man, this life sucks. Okay, I better do something about it. Get some marketing happen. And then you're going to deliver on the marketing, and you're doing the marketing, and then you're delivering, and then that person leaves or the client leaves, and you're like, oh man, I'm back to the same place again. Oh, I better do it again then. But the new marketing message of the month, let's go and do that bright, shiny object. And then we go on to the next thing, and it's like, oh, okay. And this here is what's called the crazy 8. And this is why most people get stuck, because they get comfortable, they get back to where they were in B, and they never make the transition that they need to. So point F is where people get stuck and where they stay. The only way to get out of point F is to go to point E. Now, point G, point G is a very different pathway. To do point G, that goes to point H and point I, is very different. This pathway is very specific, particularly from a business context. How do you elevate and go from point F and move into G and then go to H? It's systems. Most people are just winging it. It's processes. It's making sure you've got a guide. Think of this as a ladder. You've got a guide, and this is where mentoring and coaching kicks in. Someone who's already worked the journey and gone before you. It's then key people in the team. Who are the key people that need to be put into place? How do you know who the right person is to bring in, and then when to bring them in there? For us, we talk about that from a capacity planning. It's making sure you have absolute clarity on what the next steps in the business actually are. And this is how you elevate and move from one step to the next thing. You get to point H. To do this here, though, what's going to drive you? See, what happens is when people are in this stage here in F, they're feeling like they have to push all the time. This is about push. This here is about pull. And what we mean by pull here is making sure that the only thing that's going to take you in here at this point H is to have what we call the brightness of the future. And the brightness of the future just means like, what's going to excite you going here? What's the benefit? What's the upside? You know, do you want to go back and have a repeat, do Rocky 10 and get beaten up in the ring again? Or we go, actually, let's have a brightness of the future. And then the last piece in point I is this here is all about an evolved identity. Is the only way to drive someone forward and to have them go through and to go to that next stage in the business is that they set a brightness of the future. Number one, this is the action item for you. What's the brightness of the future for you? And the second thing is, how do you reformulate what the identity is going to be? The winning strategy that got you to point A is the losing strategy to get you to point I. And point I, here's what happens at point I. Once you've gone through this journey, guess what happens? You're at the next A spot and you move along, and this is the normal cycle that we go. This here looks very familiar to this over here. This here is the hero's journey. And this journey is very defined. The business has very distinct stages. This is the mindset shift that someone needs to take. The problem is most people fight it. They get down here and they go, oh, I don't want this as bad. It's like, but actually, the principle here is the obstacle is the way. If you ever read that book, it's an amazing book. Is the problem that you're fighting is actually the solution. The reasons why you can't do something is the reason why you focus on those areas is going to get you those results. It's as simple as that. But what happens is people fight this journey. And when you fight this journey, this is what becomes difficult. We know that there's a very natural cycle that people need to go through. And each one of these and each one of the stages of the business are at, there's another hero's journey. The way I like to think about this is as a kid, you're on a swing, and a big swing. Where I grew up, there were no limitations on the swings. And so you could swing, you could swing it almost all the way around. The way you want to think about this is when you're on this downward cycle, make this as quick as you possibly can. You want to like get on it and you want to jump. You want to like really jump on the swing. So you go through this, go through the abyss, get the lessons and learnings, and then come back up into the redemption. And then you go into your next hero's journey. And one of my clients, Mikey, said, when does it end? And I laughed. I said, mate, it ends when the game stops. And the game doesn't stop when you know that you're part of this journey. The key part now is how do you bring joy and how do you enjoy the journey? This is all that evolving as a leader. And I don't know about you, but one of the main reasons why I am in business, and I know all the people we work with are in business, is because of who it becomes or who you have to become to be able to have the business evolve. And so it's like the best personal development course you could ever do. So this is the hero's journey. The two big things to know out of this is, number one is where are you on the journey? Where are you on here? And then set the brightness of the future, and then what does the identity need to be? If you love this, click on the links, give me some feedback. What did you love about this? What are some things you'd like to learn more about? And make sure you subscribe so you can see more of the stuff that's going to help you to really scale the business. This is the stuff that's going to help you not just in 2026 to take the scaling mindset, but also take you way beyond that as well.